Different these days with apps and online translation just a click away.
But now a team at Monash University is taking it a step further using 3D animation and 21st century technology to preserve Indigenous languages that are many of thousands of years old. And all of a sudden the kids are paying attention when you got stuff like that involved. The Wunungu Awara project is overseen by a team led by Fred Leone, who joins us now. Fred, good morning.
Hi, how you going?
Can you say good morning to us in your or your family's language?
Yeah, Galangodabuthabi.
Galagala-Buthavi?
Yeah, Galangodabuthabi is good morning, basically, in Butchulla language. So Fraser Coast region, Harvey Bay, Maryborough.
Oh, nice part
Fraser
of the world.
Island, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's where which side of your family?
Yeah, that's on my grandmother's side.
Okay.
So I'm one of the songmen for that side of the family, yeah.
Yeah, you're a songman, you say?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What's that role involved?
Stories, so get the stories, but also the language, because a part of knowing about language and stories is that connection. So it's that deeper connection with the land and the country.
So you're a library.
Yeah, basically.
You're where the stories and the songs are to be deposited and to be held and then spread around.
In 2019, probably just a little tip of the iceberg compared to people older than me, yeah.
But still, I mean, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah. It's thinking about it a lot. I sort of have to pinch myself sometimes.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's a really important role. I mean, within the community, I don't sort of take it lightly. And I don't think anybody does, a songwoman or songman.
I'll ask you a little bit about this specific project and how you're doing it. Can you tell us about languages? Are we losing languages? Are you racing against time?
Yeah, it
them alive?
definitely is a race against time. Pre-contact, pre-invasion, there were 260 language groups. So much like Europe, if you look at the Tyndale map or a similar map, you'll see that there's 260 language groups. Within those 260 odd language groups, there's all up over 600 dialects. So each group has 2 to 3 different dialects. Yeah. And so in today, 2019, there's around about 20 that are still really strong. Yeah. And the rest are in various, various states of either being extinct or close to extinction, yeah.
Do we have any trace of all of those languages, or are some of them really just completely gone?
Some are completely gone. Like the animation you just saw, that's from the Wunungu Awara people, which is just up from Borroloola, so Mara country, Yanyuwa country, and that language passed with the people. In around 1901, there was a massacre, so there were no language speakers left, but that story and some of the songline still exists, and the story is held by other people in the surrounding communities.
Tell us about these animations, because as Paul indicated, I mean, they're mesmerising and they're beautiful, but what's to me really striking is that it links in one line several things. The dance, the song and the painting is all one.
Yeah. So this project started a long time ago. So around 40 years ago, Associate Professor John Bradley started working in the community and then living in the community, working in the community up in Borroloola, in Yanyuwa country. Becoming, part of the family, basically. With some of my uncles and aunties that also live across there. And so in that time, looking at language and watching it, slowly watching the knowledge over generation, generation after generation slowly go, he spoke to the elders and they said, okay, we need to do something. So in about 2011 was the first animation that took place. And that's when this project was born. And it started out originally as the Monash Country Lines Archive, but it's now Wunungu Awara, which has been supported actually by the Alan and Elizabeth Finkel Foundation.
All right, yes.
So just injected $1.4 million into the program to help get the message out and to help us to be able to work with communities all around the country.
So you go all around the communities
Yeah.
and you speak to young people. Is that who you're focusing on, or is it older people as well?
Intergenerational, so we're looking at
Yeah.
intergenerational transfer of knowledge. Like in 2019, you have to, Aboriginal culture has to, and language has to compete with, like everybody else. We have to get knowledge through to our young people, we have to compete with Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
nightclubs, all the 9 to 5 stuff, everything that happens in terms of contemporary society.
What's your trick, if I can call it a trick, to get those young people to understand that this is important? Because obviously, kids everywhere tended to be in the moment and not understand the value of these great traditions.
Yeah, I think for us, it's putting these stories into such a high-spec 3D animation that blows anybody's mind from a young age to the oldest of the elderly. Like it's a really amazing opportunity, not only for our own community but for the wider community to learn more about these languages and
Fred,
stories.
we've had this discussion before on the couch, particularly with the announcement that we're now engaged in a national conversation about Indigenous recognition in the Constitution, which is how important language in school would be, to actually have that taught as regularly as we find French or Italian or Chinese taught in primary schools and secondary schools. How can Australia make that happen?
I think it'll come with time. I think it's more social change. So it might not happen in this generation, but it'll certainly happen one day. I would hope
Does
so.
it strike you as
before it's too
important?
late.
Is it something that's important?
Oh, it's really important. It's really important. But the thing I think that makes it difficult and different in terms of like places like New Zealand is there's so many different language groups.
Yeah, right.
And so many different areas covered. So
Whereas there's Māori, so which is easier. Yeah.
And so when we see the New Zealand national anthem played, for instance, it's sung in both English and Māori, isn't it?
yes, yeah.
Would you like to see something like that, or would it be too hard to choose a
which one
particular
would you
language?
pick?
Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of.
That'd be a political problem.
Yeah, that would
wouldn't
be a bit of a political nightmare in terms of our communities, vying for the right to have.
Maybe we could share it around.
Maybe just the music, yeah.
Hey, it's a marvellous project. If people watching this morning have some connection to language that they're keen to let you guys know about, how would they get in touch with you?
The easiest way I'd say is to get onto a search engine on your computer and type in Wunungu Awara.
Okay, so Wunungu Awara, and which we had on the screen before, but that's WUNUNGU Awara, AWARA. And if you Google that or if you search for that, you should find it. Fred, great spending time with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Keep
Well done,
on.
Fred. Yeah.
Great project. We'll turn now to yesterday's High Court decision. You'll remember